Now, back in the old days, there was this belief that you made your life easier if you put in an automatic water change system. And what that was back in these days was a strainer that would go down to the drain. And then you'd open that tap up, that would empty the water down to there. You then have it plumbed so you can easily refill it again. And as far as doing a water change is concerned, that is a pretty quick way of doing a water change. The only thing is that I question the value of that water change in any way, shape or form. Because if it was up to me, I would be using a gravel cleaner and I'd be pulling all of the crap out of the gravel. Because when I do a water change, I want maximum bang for buck. I want to pull all the crap out of the gravel and then I want to put nice clean water back in again. Removing the nice clear water off the top and then putting in slightly cleaner water is better than nothing, but I definitely question the value of it. So those sorts of systems are pretty much very much out of fashion because if you just do your gravel cleans for your water changes, you'll find you don't have to change anywhere near as much water and your bang for buck is very intense because you're getting very, very dirty water out and you're putting lovely clean water back in again. This thing here is a really good thing to have. It's just in case you start filling the tank up and the phone rings or you get distracted or get stuck doing a poo, whatever your reason. If you're filling your tank up, then you're never going to flood your lounge room because in this case, as soon as the sump gets full, it's got an overflow. So this here is a really, really good thing. Having an overflow on your sump is well worth its effort. Now, as far as fish are concerned, fish keeping is 50% water quality. So we can easily monitor your water quality and it's 50% food quality. Now, these fish are getting fed Danichi, so that's about the highest quality food you can get. I'd also like to see a bit of Spectrum probiotics in the diet because I love the Spectrum probiotics because it's got the probiotic bacteria in it, which means when the fish poo, the bacteria in the poo eats the poo. So it keeps the fish nice and clean, keeps the tank nice and clean. These fish are a little bit on the lean side. So these tinfoils look very good, but they're slightly lean. And if you do look at something like this electric yellow, look, if you look at its belly, it sort of goes up. So we're really wanting a little bit more weight. So we want to feed these fish just a little bit more. The tank's got very good water flow. It's got plenty of filtration. And change is king. So I would also think about getting some nice tall plants in this tank. Because every now and then I want to make the tank look different. Every now and then change some fish, but change is king. If you leave your tank the same way for too long, it does end up looking tired. So giving it a bit of a change around is a really great idea. Fish like Plecostomus catfish and bristlenose catfish are absolutely wonderful for reducing the amount of algae. But if you wanted these rocks to look new again, you would basically just put them in the sun for a day and the sun would dry up and sort of bleach off the algae and then turn them around, leave them for another day and then hit them with a hose and you'll be surprised how good these will come up. They'll come up looking nice and clean again. Inevitably over time, this is the colour they do tend to go. So with the tank change is king, I'm really a big fan of giving the tank a bit of a spring clean. That means move the rocks around, clean underneath the rocks. And you probably don't want to do that on the same day as doing a filter spring clean because it ends up being quite a big day. And it's better to do less at a time. It causes less stress on the fish than trying to do everything at once. And when you do something big like this, it's really adding some fresh polyfilter is the best thing I can recommend. Because sometimes when this sand hasn't been agitated for a long time or when the filter material hasn't been touched for a long time, it can go anoxic and it can discharge hydrogen sulfide. And I am seeing a bit of black there in the gravel, which means it is possible that there is hydrogen sulfide forming in that gravel, assuming that it hasn't been touched for months and months and months. So if you do get hydrogen sulfide in the water, it's my experience that the polyfilter will basically remove it without a problem. But if you go disturbing something like hydrogen sulfide sinks and you don't have polyfilter on hand, you are risking your fish. Doing a bit of an overhaul on this aquarium and a little bit of a mini overhaul on this sump. Now, this sump has got bioballs in it. I'm not the world's biggest fan of bioballs because bioballs work with just nitrification, so they break ammonia into nitrate or something you don't want into something else that you don't want. In a perfect world, I'd probably look at something like Marine Pure, because Marine Pure has a certain internal consistency which allows the formation of denitrifying bacteria, so it helps to get rid of your nitrates as well over time. So I'm just going to give this sump a bit of a clean up now. And because we're disturbing stuff in this service, I've got some activated carbon, some Seachem activated carbon. Put that in there. After a couple of months, it'd be really worth taking that carbon out and chucking it out, because it will only be good for sort of 6 or 8 weeks tops. And then we want to throw that away, because what that's going to do is help to remove anything toxic from the water, even things like hydrogen sulfide, which we might be disturbing during this service. At the moment, it's just disturbing these balls and just trying to get as much crap out of the filter as possible. You can see from the sheer amount of crap that we're getting that this will be a process. It's not something we're going to fix in a day. So we're just sucking all the crap out of the filter. There's something very satisfying about doing this. Watching all this crap come out and then putting nice clean water back in for the fish. It could do with like some nice really bright coloured electric blues, and maybe like a really nice red empress might look really nice. Just trying to get a little bit of extra colour. So these fish all in all are looking really quite healthy, especially considering the filter hasn't been cleaned out since Captain Cook. But fish keeping is really 50% water quality and 50% food quality. And because these fish are fed on Danichi, I find that that is one of the best things you can ever do for your fish. It just keeps your fish so healthy, and even if your environment is really not ideal and you're really not staying up to date with your maintenance, just somehow the fish look great. And I go from house to house, and I'll go to one person's house, the fish look great, but then the system really maybe is not in such great shape. Then I'll go and I'll test the water, and maybe the water's not good. Then I'll go to the very next house and all the fish are dying and the system looks much better than the last house, and the water tests much better than the last house. And then you look at the cupboard and sure enough, they have low quality food. Heavily processed, pressure cooked food is really the enemy of your fish. I really want either slow cooked foods like Danichi or cold extruded foods like New Life Spectrum's probiotics. I do love the probiotics because of the probiotic bacteria in the probiotics. Means that when the fish poo, the bacteria in the poo eats the poo. So particularly your sumps and your gravel tends to stay so much cleaner.